Hey, everybody, welcome back to a special edition of Samp&Chance Royal Rumble review. We're about 12 and a half hours removed. I am joined with Chance Michaels here at the bottom, and right beside me, I got a friend of the show all the way from Greece. Chance, let's introduce our friend Connor, the Irish Mauler, onto the show. He loves wrestling, and he reached out to us and said, hey, I would love to come on and talk Royal Rumble with you guys. So this is something different, a different set of pipes, a different set of opinions, a different set of views. Connor, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you? How's Greece treating you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Greece is amazing. It's as beautiful as people think it is. And weather is much better than Ireland and Canada. So, yeah.
And what are you actually doing out there? What took you all the way to Greece?
So, after I left Vancouver, I went back home to Ireland for a bit. And then, with the opportunity to work remotely, I went to Greece for a bit and just loved it. So, I ended up staying. I went here and there. I went to Hungary. I went back home to Ireland over that time. But I just keep coming back to here.
And through all your travels, you still find time to watch wrestling, my man. I love it.
I know, man. It's not easy, right? The amount of hours that during the week, especially with AEW edition, but I get it in. I find a time at the weekend, get
So
all that wrestling.
so pay-per-views, Raws, and stuff like that all start at like 2, 3 in the morning for you down there?
They do, but I catch up the next day.
Okay,
So
all right.
Yeah.
All right, let's just get right to the meat here, man. Guys, Royal Rumble 2023 is done. The car is officially started. The road is officially paved. Here we are. We're on our way to Los Angeles for WrestleMania 39. Um, None of us have spoken. None of us really know where our minds are with this show. I understand, Connor, that you're about maybe half an hour, 45 removed now from watching it. Chance and I were both about 12 hours now removed from watching it. So the dust has kind of settled in our minds. It's probably kind of swirling a little bit in yours. I'll tell you right now, off the top of my head, I thought this wasn't a bad Royal Rumble. It wasn't anything spectacular either. I'd probably give the show right off the top of my head, maybe a 6.5 to a 7, to be fair. Nothing really for me to complain about per se. There were a couple botches. We can talk about that as we progress here. And little things that I noticed, but I'd love to hear from you guys. Chance, what did you think, man? Right off the top.
I agree with you about 6.5 out of 10. That's what I was thinking, but I found it really, really boring. And the reason why I say that, we knew Cody Rhodes was going to win. We knew Rhea was going to win, and we knew Reigns was going to win. There was no surprises. The only surprise really was Booker T. Everything else was so predictable, and I thought it was very bland and very boring, and actually one of the least enjoyable Royal Rumbles that I've seen in a long time. That's my take on it. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, man. So I was going to give a 6.5. I pushed it to a 7, and I might have just pushed it to a 7 because I was still feeling all that emotion from the main event. But overall, I think 6.5, a 7 is a push because, yeah, I'm the same as you. I feel the same, no surprises, some inconsistency with previous years, I believe. I was really hoping for, number 17, Ray was not coming out. So I was like, oh, there's going to be a surprise at the end. There wasn't. Thought that was likely considering the Meals Royal Rumble was number 1 match. So that right off the get-go, I was a bit bummed out I knew there was going to be no surprise. If there's going to be number 1 match, there's going to be no big, because it's going to be a surprise. You would expect it to be the main event. So I thought, okay, Cody's winning this. Cody came at 30, so I was a little bit bummed to get-go. So I was already flat from the beginning. Started picking up, but overall, I think I would echo your words. The lacking of star power surprises was a big thing to put me down to the 6 to 7 range too.
Yeah. I look at it from this perspective. I think number one, well, let's go right into it. Like the first big surprise of the show was McAfee coming back. And I really enjoyed that. I do like him on commentary. You could tell that he hadn't been watching any wrestling for 4 months with some of the things that he was saying.
Yeah.
But McAfee can pull it off in such a way that he can make it sound cool that he doesn't know. Like he didn't know that Alexa is crazy now. He didn't know who, this character is doing this. But the way he worded it, he saved himself on every occasion. And that's what McAfee brings. I mean, that commentating booth, I was really, they really did a good job, all three of them. They all worked really well together. Here's my take on the men's Royal Rumble match. Now, the one thing you guys I did hear from you was that it was the number 1 match. Now, I almost think that they put the match first because they weren't sure what kind of backlash the crowd would give him if Sammy wasn't in it, and they would have enough time to recover the rest of the program and build accordingly. Would you guys agree with something like that? Because there's so much on Sammy right now. This is like Sammy Mania, as it was.
I don't think anybody thought Sammy was coming out because they didn't announce him. They didn't really tease that he was coming. So I didn't even think twice that he didn't even come out till after. I'm like, oh crap, Sammy didn't come out, but I wasn't expecting him to come out really. So I wasn't disappointed by that.
No, but not.
I think given the main event, that storytelling, to me, that's what really give it a 7. If it wasn't for that main event, I wrote down before going into the main event, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10, and then that bumped it up to around a 7. I thought the storytelling was just epic. I was just at the edge of my seat. Energy was pulsating through my body. I was like, is he going to do it? Is he not? So I think that was too monumental to me. I think that was epic storytelling. So I think it was fitting to put that right at the end of the show. Like, so I don't disagree with that. It was a bummer that the males was number 1 because I felt, there's not going to be any big surprise here because they would leave it for the main event. But to agree with you there, I think the Sammy angle was just too monumental. It just that will sink in for everybody. It would have been wasted in the middle of the card, you know.
Well, so. I think that you could not have ended the show with anything else but what ended the show, right? Even you couldn't put the men's rumble last. The show had to end the way it had to end, right?
Yeah, the ending was good.
No way. All right, let's get into the men's Royal Rumble. Here are my thoughts right off the bat. Sheamus and Gunther. Happy birthday to Sheamus, who was celebrating his 45th birthday yesterday. For the show. Gunther, man, wow, they have high hopes for this guy. He came in number 1. He set the record. This guy went post to post. He basically was the last one eliminated. I mean, this kid's something else, man. That crazy guitar shot that he took from Elias halfway through, he had to work through all that.
He's cut too, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so he had to work through all that. So Gunther, man, big shout out to him. I don't think we'll probably go in, participant by participant, just highlights. Another highlight for me was this is the 2nd year in a row now that Kofi has botched his attempt
to
get back into the ring.
Now. They need to get rid of that.
Well, I'm almost thinking now that maybe they're doing in the opposite spot where he botches it every year. This is 2 in a row now, right? I mean, that chair totally failed on him. He was supposed to land on the chair. Rule number 1, don't use a fucking chair with wheels, right? It's going to slip out under you. So, I mean, completely botched spot. Unfortunate situation there. Like you guys were saying, there were no major surprises in the men's Royal Rumble outside of Booker T. The other thing that I also noticed in this Rumble and the women's Rumble, which is not something I've seen in previous Rumbles in the last little while, the influx of competitors in the ring at any given time. This is one particular Rumble where I saw more people in the ring going into number 30. Like, I think there was 11 people in the ring for the women when Nia came out. So it's just like a very different take on the way the Rumble was run. In the past years, we've seen where Brock is just cleaned out, and, just waiting for one-on-one. And then at any given moment, you maybe had 6 or 7 competitors in each Rumble at any given time. But this one in particular, I found both matches mirrored themselves quite a bit in terms of entrance numbering. You had Rhea and Liv coming in at 1 and 2, and they basically lasted the whole match. I mean, it ended with 1 and 2. And in the men's, same kind of scenario, not Sheamus, unfortunately, but with Gunther. What do you guys think?
Gunther's performance was good. Like, they're bringing him up. He lasted the whole time, fought good. But for me, the highlight of the men's Royal Rumble was the spot with Logan Paul and Ricochet. Logan Paul came out there. I thought he stole the show. That was a crazy spot. We've never seen that. They hit hard. He actually had welts on him after that. I thought that was the best spot of the Rumble. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, I got to go with Logan too. So the biggest hype I actually got of the card was probably Logan. I have to say, Logan podcasting, I don't really watch Impulsive. I've caught a little bit here and there. Jake Paul, I always root for the UFC fighter, a big UFC fan. So I always root for the UFC fighter if he's fighting Askren or Woodley,
Yeah.
But when it comes to Logan Paul in the WWE, I'm a big fan of Logan Paul in the WWE. That match with Roman, that just got me sitting up. That was one of the best matches I will say that I've seen in a few years, and it was by Logan Paul. In his second, third match, whatever. So whenever Logan came out after what he took in that match with the knee injury, I didn't think he would do something risky like he did with Ricochet. So for me, that was major because I kind of had a feeling Cody's going to come out number 30 now. You know, it got around that like 20 mark, and I was thinking, I wish Cody came out earlier, to be honest, because then he would have had 5 for it, would have meant a little bit more, you know, but maybe that was the reason for that. Maybe they're just being a little bit cautious because he is coming back from injury and they want to protect him when the Mania, possibly. But so for me, with Cody being number 30, Logan coming out was a big surprise to me, and I thought he did fantastic in Crown Jewel, so I thought he deserved his moment.
What a phenomenal athlete he is. He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, definitely spot of the night as well in my notes here as well. Like everyone I was with watching it, like we're all like, ooh, right? That was something. That was a hard hit, man. Those guys came off really, really hard. Connor, you were saying, yeah, you know, just being disappointed with Cody coming out at number 30, you know, trying to work for it a bit. But I think it also kind of worked out in the sense that there was about 10 to 12, you know, the ring was pretty full when he came in. So, you know, from that perspective as well, it wasn't like, okay, you're number 30 and there's only 5 guys or 6 guys left in the ring. There was still a lot of guys in the ring to work with. And yeah, I think you need to protect him a little bit as well. You can't have him come in at a number 20 spot and you know, kind of re-injure himself. He's just, as much as he trained, you know, like we've talked about this before, Chance and I, and many a time, you can lift weights, you can run, you can be in the best fit. You're a personal trainer, Connor. You got this down, you know. But if you're not in the ring actually honing the craft, if you're not taking a backslide, if you're not taking a bump, if you're not, you know, hitting the mats, you're never going to be ready for a match, right? So, you know, as much as he prepared in the Nightmare Factory and he has his own ring and he's worked with different people and what have you, but ultimately, you know, just it's safety, right? I mean, he's too valuable right now to get hurt again.
The thing is with the men's, go ahead, Connor.
I was just going to say, you know, with that in mind, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it has to be possibly a little bit of protection, you know, because of that. And, you know, he didn't do a whole lot. He wasn't doing like in terms of big spots. He did do the Cody Cutter a couple of times, which is a risky move, you know, so kudos. And he hit them pretty damn well, you know, so that was going good. I followed the men's Royal Rumble. And I think lately wrestling's been great. It's been a good build up to Rumble. And then I was already, as soon as they said men's Royal Rumble, I think I started going flat. And then I didn't really see, I felt it was possibly a little bit rushed. You know, I felt this whole event maybe was a little bit rushed for some reason. Like nothing seemed big in terms of eliminations. Lesnar went out very quick, Lash went out very quick, Seth was very, you know, flat. It wasn't like a back and forth. It was just, all right, you know, even the Gunther being eliminated, it kind of like almost like a little bit of a botch elimination. He turned, you could see him turning it. It didn't look epic like when Triple H eliminated Kurt with the clothesline over the top rope. And it was just, boom, you know, he just went flying over. It was almost a little lackluster how it went over. I want to ask this though, and sorry to interrupt, Chance. I want to get you here what you were going to say, but I wanted to add this in. I'm sure you guys are probably going to get to it, but I was curious. What was this and the Bang? Was that like a elite? Was that like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks kind of?
That's it. That's a tribute. It was a little tribute, a shout out to Kenny Omega. So the 2 Sweet goes all the way back to the Bullet Club. You'll see Finn doing it, and you'll see AJ do it and whatnot. So that's always tied into that. And the thing like this, that's a Kenny Omega, man. That's a Kenny Omega trademark.
I was surprised to see that.
Yeah. Here's the one thing I'll take away from the men's Royal Rumble. Yes, it was lackluster. Yes, it was not as surprise filled as we would have liked. Unfortunately, we didn't get Bushwhacker Luke on the show. There was a petition going around, Connor, just so you know. He had a petition going around to have him, you know, be a participant in the Royal Rumble. We talked about it on the podcast that we did with him as well. So, you know, I guess, you know, they didn't see the value in that one. But here's the one thing I will take away from it. A lot of things were developed. The storylines were moved forward from this Royal Rumble. Okay. Yeah, things were quick and what have you, but I think in a lot of different ways, we're starting to see direction now. So, I mean, when you go back and watch it again, you'll start to see that from that perspective, perhaps. Like, this is what I get now as I've had time to think about it. We got advancement in the Edge storyline. You know, Edge came out. He didn't last too long, but he came out there. He took care of the Judgment Day. They fought all the way to the back, having Beth Phoenix come out and spear Rhea Ripley. That sets up what I think you'll see at Extreme Rules, because it can't be happening at the Royal
Elimination Chamber.
WrestleMania. Sorry, Elimination Chamber. I keep saying Extreme Rules. I apologize. I said that last week too. So you could probably have like a gender mixed tag team match now. Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley against Edge and Beth, right? So you got that storyline kind of developing. Ray, the reason he didn't come out at number 17, he actually injured himself on Friday against Karrion Kross.
Okay.
Right? So he was supposed to come out. So they had to change things up really quick. This is the beauty of having information 12 hours after the show.
Yeah.
Pardon me. So he didn't come out. That's why Dominic came out and made a horrible mess of trying to rip up Ray's mask. And that was really unfortunate. But again, another way just to kind of build the stories. One of the biggest matches that I think that we're going to get out of this Royal Rumble, and we haven't touched on this here, Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul at Mania is probably going to happen.
That'll be huge.
Right? Logan was calling for John Cena, but I think they're going to go Cena Theory because there's more of a storyline already built in. Theory's favorite wrestler growing up was Cena. He's of that generation, right? He was legitimately a kid when John Cena was at his top, you know.
Well, it makes more sense. They're similar builds, similar styles, and then Logan Paul and Seth are more similar, so it makes more sense.
Yeah.
My takeaway from the Royal Rumble, just to put a cap on it, was lackluster. One of the lesser Rumbles that I've ever seen, because you knew that none of these guys were going to win it. You never for once thought Gunther was going to take Cody. You knew Cody was winning, so it wasn't even believable because you knew Cody was winning it. And even though Gunther had his moments, you knew he wasn't going to throw him out. The Rumbles are the best when you don't know who's going to win. Oh, he might win. He might win. Going into this, we knew it was Cody, so it was a big letdown overall.
All right,
so I have to agree with that too. Just the Gunther aspect, that's what I agree with. I don't know who you would have put him with to make it maybe Rollins, but as you said, it was great to get the Logan Rollins kind of tease for Mania. But with Gunther, you knew it absolutely wasn't going to be Gunther. That's the only thing I will say. Like, it wasn't like may there be a swerve? Because you're like, well, it's not going to be Gunther. But I did like that Gunther Lesnar was teased. Them two, like, face to face is just behemoths, you know. Yeah. One thing, and this is nitpicking. This is nitpicking for me, right? I every year though, I don't like this. I don't like that they do this, right? I don't like when they go, someone comes out and then right after is a rival, or someone comes out then right after a tag team partner. Because it's supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken, is it still supposed to be random, or is it now people know the numbers or whatever? Like, no one picks though, right? So it just seems, it's a little bit, for me, it's a little bit nitpicky, but it's something I wrote down because like Lesnar come out, then Lashley come out, you know. But one of the highlights for me was Lesnar. Lesnar just did Lesnar stuff, you know. He just came in, cleaned up. I actually liked that the amateur wrestling he did with who did he take down? I think it was Sheamus, and then there was the amateur wrestling between Xavier and Shush. Gable. Yeah, there was they did a little bit of amateur wrestling because they are both amateur wrestling backgrounds, you know. I love that little scuffle between them, you know, with that element. So there was some fun elements for me. I just think for overall that was a big point too that I thought just the Gunther Cody. I love that they gave Gunther that push and really solidified him with the Lesnar start line, with the number one, number two, number one, right? Number one all the way to the very end. That it was great to push him in that way. So they elevated Gunther in that match. But as you said, I probably would have preferred it to be someone that you thought maybe you could see possibly there's a twist here coming, you know. Yeah.
All right, so here I'm gonna officially put the lock on the men's Royal Rumble here, so we can move on. Gunther, we're probably gonna get Lashley and Brock at Elimination Chamber. That's probably gonna happen quicker than not, guys. I think what we're gonna end up getting is Gunther against Brock at Mania. All roads lead up to that. The way they've built up Gunther, this Royal Rumble was something for that. Yeah. Lastly, we keep saying lackluster, this and that. Is it we're just that fucking good at what we do and we know our shit so well that we wreck it for ourselves? Just gonna leave it there. I'll say this: Royal Rumble match was okay. It was good. It was fun. It moved storylines as it was supposed to. Lackluster, maybe there wasn't enough surprises. Maybe that's what bothers us. I thought the Royal Rumble was okay. Wasn't the greatest, wasn't the best, wasn't the worst. So let's move on. to the biggest money match of the night, I'll call it. The pitch black match between one Bray Wyatt and one LA Knight. Guys, right off the bat, what did you think?
Connor, go ahead, take it.
Man, okay. This event really picked up, but that match just had me pissed. I gotta admit, I'm a huge Wyatt fan. Love Bray. Love how he's been portrayed lately. I think he's really making a comeback and he's a resurgence. They're turning away from the Fiend, which I like because the Fiend did get, I believe, got a little bit silly. I love the Fiend. I love the look of the Fiend. I love how the Fiend started off, but it just got a little bit.
It's hard to be a face, man. It's hard to be a face demon.
Exactly right. But this match, man, I thought to myself at some point, maybe you guys agree, I thought, is this more of like an advertisement for Mountain Dew? Because they had the whole like bright, it was like pitch makes it seem creepy and scary, but it was all lit up like glitter, like a nightclub,
No,
and, so like I love both. LA Knight is phenomenal. I was like, don't do LA Knight like this. LA Knight is money. I just think LA Knight's just something great. He gets the fans behind him now. He is a heel, so there is a little bit of maneuvering so the fans don't get behind him so much, because he's great as a heel. He should stay a heel. But I thought it was that match seemed to be very rushed. It was like came with a kendo stick over, but I will say positives for me. So that's the negatives aside. Positives, Bray looked incredible. His the face paint, the eyes, he looked just, without being the Fiend, he looked great. He looked good as well. He hasn't wrestled in a long time. He hasn't been on TV at least. Wrestling in a long time. I thought it looked good. But overall, I'm going to get this event's building for me. It gets better. But this match really just bothered me. I just thought, like, do better for these two guys. Like, I just thought I was looking forward to this so much. I thought them two are just brilliant and they've worked so well. They've meshed so well, and it's been great storytelling. And then I was like, is this a Mountain Dew advert? I mean, what's going on,
Yeah. Chance, what about you, bro?
Basically, what he said, he summed it up pretty well. I always thought it'd be a little bit more of a scary match than it's like, it felt like you're in a nightclub at a rave. All the fluorescent and the neon stuff, it was rushed. Bray Wyatt did look cool with scary mask and the paint and all that. They kind of made LA Knight look scared of him. He was kind of running around, kind of made him look weak, I thought, at points. And then Uncle Howdy, that big spot, he doesn't even touch him. That was bad. That it was cool to see the fire come up when he does that elbow or whatever. He doesn't even touch him, doesn't even come close. You can see it. He missed them. It ended the match with bad notice. I thought it was a letdown match. It could have been so good. I thought pitch black match would be like scary, like a spotlight, and this was like you're at a party, and I don't know. I was let down by it.
Okay, well, first off, it was a huge advertisement for Mountain Dew. Number one, the Mountain Dew logo was in the ring. For the match, right. So it was a huge advertisement. Like, if anything, this match made the most money for the WWE. You got to figure that Mountain Dew paid a huge amount of money to get that logo on the ring apron. This is something that Vince would never have done. I'm not, just to bring it up. He was always, of all the things that Vince wanted to do, this is one thing he was never a fan of, was putting the advertising in the ring. Ironic, isn't it? Like, considering all the revenue streams he's always wanted to touch on. But Mountain Dew must have paid an exorbitant amount of money to pull this match off. It was only 5 minutes long. The best part of the match was at the end. I mean, I think if anything, the true Bray Wyatt character, the kind of guy that we're going to get, we're starting to see that character develop more from this match. That's what I took from it. Being impervious to the kendo shots at the end, it starts to kind of emerge. This is who this guy's going to be now. That mask that he had on, like, you basically saw him transform through the match. Like, he didn't come on with that mask. He had the real dark rings around his eyes, that black paint and whatnot. And as the match progressed, you could see, okay, the mask is on now. And, he had the Jeff Hardy body paint on. And LA Knight wearing the yellow neon kachi. Okay, I get it, right? I mean, but I don't think it hurts LA Knight because he is a really good character. I think this is more just a launching pad kind of thing. For all we know, maybe LA Knight's going to be one of the White Six. And I'll say this overall for the night, there are about 3 to 4 spots that the cameraman had a bad night. One would have been right there on that spot, the way they shot it. they could have made it look like you hit, but you knew he landed right beside him.
Yeah,
And,
that was,
and all the different angles that they show, Connor, go back and take a look at it now that you've watched it and you can see it
Yeah.
again. I'll be honest, guys, I've watched the Royal Rumble twice now, the whole show. Just once as a social event, the second time just to kind of pick the little pieces out, right? And in my second viewing, this is where I noticed that they botched the camera shot here. They botched the camera shot on the Kofi spot. They botched the camera shot in the female Royal Rumble, and I'll share that when we get
but
to
it's
that.
also the cameraman. Yeah, he didn't do the best, but the performers got to make their move. You can't.
No,
Uncle Howdy cannot miss. Like that.
Regardless though,
Right.
like when they practice this and they shoot it, they can shoot it from different angles where he doesn't necessarily have to even touch the guy. It's just you can get it on the camera where it looks like he's coming down and he's just right on that right spot, right? I get what you're saying completely, but I mean,
Yeah.
they botched it. It's from the camera botch. I wouldn't say Howdy botched it because he landed where he was supposed to land. It's
He could have at
that-
least made it
Well,
look believable, right?
But he did have his elbow out and he did a little twist in it too, right? Like I'm not defending it. I'm just saying from the angles and the way they filmed it, it could have been done better to make it look like he hit him. Right?
Yeah.
I'll just say this. Like, I mean, this one really bothered me because I thought
That was bad.
Bray looked amazing coming out. You know, I thought Bray. I was like, this is the best looking Bray I've seen. When he came out before the paint, when he just had the black eyes, I was like, this is creepy, just with black eyes. It's
Yeah.
He came out and the lights were on, and I was like, oh, are they going to? I thought this was a lights out match. They're going to do it with the lights on. And I thought, I don't care if they do. This looks pretty cool. Bray looks cool. These two are awesome. This is going to be a good match. I actually looking forward to seeing these guys wrestle. You know. So I was getting excited. Then the lights went off. I was like, okay, it's going to be a little bit weird to see this match. It's going to be hard visually. But then I seen Bray's face paint. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And it's just like I don't want this to be the how Bray continues. I really want Bray had some sweet moments lately that I was a fan of. Like that really I was like, okay, I think Bray's going to be top tier. I've always wanted Bray to be top tier. I've always wanted to take it seriously. In the top mix, you know, and be a steady top of the card guy. And I just feel like this is putting him back into that kind of, you know, who knows, unknown fiend stage where it didn't look like it looked like he could have seen, and then he went back down, and already it looks like he started off as in ring with this kind of where do you go from here? And I really hope they can advance it. I will say this too, though. You guys, you definitely picked it up. The V1 and the head shape as well. I thought that was a really cool touch as well. That has the 6. I think they will. I think they'll turn this around. I think they really will. I thought with me and you talked about Taker before, right? The Taker moment. It seemed like you said moments are made. I think you said moments are made in the ring, and I thought, oh, this is just building. It's going to be epic. And this is the one I was looking forward to the most. And I think too, because I was so excited and I think I had all these expectations and all these like wonder what's going to happen. I think just as soon as the lights went into that, you know, glowing mode, I just went, man. So I'm staying optimistic. I do believe it will turn around. I think, you know, it's not those guys' fault. It's not Bray and LA Knight's fault. You know, I think it was, as you said, WWE went with a decision to get that advertisement. Good for them, you know, especially with all the new people or all the old faces to bring them back in. It's probably good to have a little bit more cash coming in, you know. Yep. So it's good for them. Promotion, you know, hopefully, you know, it steers good.
Not taking any shots at AEW, but I think they made more money off that match than AEW probably did in 6 months.
Well, if I was Mountain Dew, I'd want my money back because that was lackluster.
You know what? It wasn't even the match, man. They won. They had their
they got the money. I get it.
They won in terms of getting their name out there, even in the post fight. Like I don't know if you guys caught it. The WWE starting to do these post the
press conference,
post show press conferences, which is kind of like a shoot almost now. Like they're getting better at it. Like they're not coming out in character so much. Like Ria Ripley came out and you know. She was talking genuinely, like, you know, it was like she was legitimately herself, you know. And you know, she had some interesting comments as well. We can talk about that a little bit later on. But guys, let's just move on from that match. I mean, here's what I'll say this about this card. Another thing, while it's still fresh in my mind, I found outside of the Rumble matches and maybe no, you know what? I'm gonna leave the last match as well. The last two, the female match and the heavyweight title match. But this match and the Bianca match that we're going to go into next, these two matches ended really impromptuly. You know, like they just kind of ended. You know, there was not enough there. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna just segue right into the next match here. Bianca Belair against another potential member of the Wyatt Six. So that story follows us into this match here. I had really, really high expectations for this match only because I'm a huge Alexa mark. I'm not gonna shy away from it. And the reason is, and I'll tell you guys why. When she entered the main roster, she came in with Bailey, Charlotte, Sasha, you know, and who's the fourth one out of those girls? Becky, right?
Becky.
Yeah, so the four horsewomen of wrestling at that time. These were the four biggest names. Any girls that were going to come in with them, you would have thought that these, you know, the lesser ones would be the ones that we'd forget about, right? But Alexa, in my opinion, she's smaller than all of them, but she's got this vicious side to her, and she made a name for herself. She didn't have anybody's name to work with. She wasn't a part of a faction. She came up and she built her own name. She's dominant. She's decorated. I'll be honest, the match that she had with Bianca here tonight was really fun. I mean, they worked really hard. It's no fault of their own. You know, we already knew that Bianca was going to win, right, Chance? I mean, we just knew because of where it's going to go. It doesn't hurt Alexa because we're still building her character, as we saw at the end of this match. My only disappointment was it wasn't longer. Even though that this Rumble went 4.5 hours.
Too long.
These two matches, the Bray Wyatt match was done in 7 minutes, in essence. This match didn't go anywhere past 10 minutes, right? I mean, I think the one segment they could have cut out was that stupid song before the main event.
Oh, that's not, yeah.
Right? That was probably, you know, that was probably the worst segment I'd ever seen ever in Royal Rumble history. No disrespect to the song, but that was just shit, man. Like, anyways, good match, good showing by both, and they work really, really well together. And what I love is that Alexa makes it look realistic that she can get a good offense on Bianca, you know, and that's what I love about Alexa. She's little, but she's a fucking firecracker. Guys, thoughts?
Sure.
Alexa,
It was rushed. Well, you got the Rumbles take up 3 hours. You almost an hour and a half each Rumble, right? So you got to rush these matches out. It was rushed and predictable again. We knew Bianca was going to take it. So just again, another letdown, I thought. Connor?
I think just to talk about Alexa Bliss again. So happy that she came back though, because she kind of fell a little bit into obscurity. It was like they didn't know what direction to go with her after the Fiend left, you know, and she went along in that Alexa Bliss Fiend kind of possessed phase, which wasn't really getting her anywhere. And then she was gone for a while. She came back. She had like that tag team run. It just seemed like she wasn't going to get back to where I believe she should be, which is the main top of the card within the women's division. So I'm really glad she did it, and it's just really feeling stronger. It seems like she's stronger now than she was before. So I'm happy she's just bringing herself back to that top level. I think that's where she belongs. Rushed match, of course, you know, just finished, just come out of nowhere. It didn't even look like she was close to hitting the Sister Abigail. You know, you knew she was going for it the way she held her, but it didn't even look close. And then it was just finished. So, of course, rushed finish. But, you know, they kept it clean. They got out of there. I will say the part at the end, I liked that it was progressing. I liked that she felt like she was in charge. You know, she came out strong for the last few weeks. Like, it's me. I don't need anybody. And she's just this real like face on her. Like, I'm strong. I'm in charge. You know, I don't need anybody. I'm going to take over this division pretty much. But then she looked very broken by the end when she didn't win it. You know, it seemed like, oh, I thought I could do it. Now I can't. So it's playing in well. I wish they did a different segment. It looked like it was the same video cut from the Raw that had happened before. I wish they did something extra with Hardy for that video segment. But overall, happy that Alexa's back in that position. I like the way her visuals, her face at the end of it, looking like, you know, she's going to give into the 6 to you know, get back that title, which I think she should, and it'll be really cool to see her in that position. I just hope that they don't mess up the 6. I hope they don't go too goofy with it, you know, and if they make them a serious threat, kind of like the Wyatt family were, believable, you know, then it'll be a really cool fashion with her as champion in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I really, with Alexa, again, the one thing I will take away from this match that they did really well were their expressions throughout. They were talking to each other. The mic was picking that up. So within that match, that dialogue, that back and forth that the two girls had together, that was really good. That made the match, really, really fun for me as well. It was kind of cut short, but so was the pitch black match. So these two matches were kind of cut short. Again, character development, everything is kind of going in the right direction. The one thing that I will stress about this particular Royal Rumble, they did a really good job at advancing stories. Even if you didn't notice it or not, a lot happened here tonight that set things in motion as we move ahead. As we move ahead now, let's get right into the females Royal Rumble matchup here. Again, very similar to how the men started. Number 1 and 2 basically stayed in this match throughout the whole match. In fact, number 1 eliminated number 2. So respect to Liv Morgan, absolutely. She lasted throughout this whole thing. She worked her ass off. I credit due where credit is due. A bit more surprises on this side. Hey, first off, no NXT men were in the men's Royal Rumble. Did you notice that?
I didn't, but now that you say that, yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Also, no Madcap Moss was in the Royal Rumble.
Maybe he's injured. I haven't seen him.
He's fine, man. His girlfriend Emma made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay, I don't know. He should have been out there, but I don't know why
he wasn't out there either. So so let's get into the female. So a lot of NXT talent was in this matchup here. You had Roxanne Perez come out. You had what's her name? The girl with the blonde hair, and she was wearing the gold tights and everything. Anyways, she's another NXT girl as well. You had the girl from Australia with the ponytail. Oh God, she was with Johnny.
I don't really watch the NXT much, so
Indy Hartwell, she was out there as well. You got to start watching that show, Chance. You got it, man. It's a part of it. You got to know what's going on, brother.
I know, but it's like you watch NFL or I watch Major Leagues. I'm not always going to watch single leg ball either, right? You can only watch so much wrestling, right? I try to watch the top.
Brother, this is what we do. We got to have to know.
No, I know, but I want to watch the best of the best. Like if you have a baseball podcast, people aren't watching Vancouver Canadians games. You're watching the Mariners games, right? It's like, you break down so much wrestling. There's wrestling everywhere. So I watch a little bit of it, but I don't think NXT's. We'll get to that later. I'm just not a big fan of it, to be honest.
All right. So anyways, as we get into this match, thoughts right off the bat, man. What did you guys think of the female Royal Rumble match overall?
Take it away, Connor.
Yeah, I like that Chelsea Green was back, right, from the Iconics. I was hoping for the, I forgot her name now, it's been so long since I've been in it. Her tag team partner. That Chelsea? Is who I'm thinking, right? Chelsea Green, she was one half of the Iconics, right?
No. The Iconics were the two Australian girls. One.
Okay.
Yeah, Chelsea Green is married to Zack Ryder now. She's actually from Victoria. She's here. She's a local girl from Vancouver.
Yeah.
No, I thought she was. She was the.
No, she's got a really interesting story. She's a really good character. She's on Impact a lot. She was on Impact a lot. She made her mark here in Vancouver. She worked her way up really well. I mean, it also helps that she's very attractive as well, so that goes in her favor. But what happened was she was in NXT, and when she made her debut, she was debuted on SmackDown, broke her hand on her debut, and then she was off TV. And then when all the cuts happened, she was one of the cuts. So, that's why no one's seen her for a long time. So she's back in the fold now. And just to give you a bit of insight, the type of character that she's going to be playing going forward, it's going to be type of like a Karen character, complaining about everything and whatnot. She's almost going to be like a comedy character from what I'm hearing right now.
Okay. So that was a botch for me. I could have swore I was reading up about. So I think after the Iconics left, I was kind of pissed the Iconics got fired. I like the Iconics. I thought they were a fun tag team that really added to that division. It was really good to have a solid team. But the women's Royal Rumble, I was rooting for Ripley. Ripley's an absolute beast, so I was really hoping that would happen, which it did, paid off. That elimination was probably my favorite elimination of the night. When she eliminated Liv Morgan at the end. That was good. That was how you eliminate someone. That was
risky. That was risky, man. It could have gone either way, right? It could have gone either way. I mean, if anything, one thing I'll say right now, while it's on the top of my head, two things. Why is the walkway at the Royal Rumble so fucking long when you only have 90 seconds between competitors?
Put more
Like-
people in the stands, man.
No,
That's
no,
all.
I get it, man, but it just makes no sense to me at all. You want the guy and girls to come into the ring as soon as possible, but it takes them almost a minute just to walk to the ring. I noticed this at the Phoenix in Swell when I went to the Royal Rumble in 2019. They had golf carts, so you don't see this obviously on TV. At the end of like when you get eliminated, they had golf carts to take the guys and girls back because the walk was so long, right?
The longer the walkway, the more seats, the more money, right? That's why they do that.
No, for sure. It just didn't make sense. And I guess the second thing was I had two things, but I can't remember the second thing now.
Well, I want to touch a little bit on what you said before about the men's rumble, how it's a little bit different with the amount of people gathering in the ring. That's it. That happened in the women's rumble as well.
Exactly.
I think that's a risky move because you want to keep suspending your belief, right? Like that's just beautiful at wrestling when they can really suspend your belief, and they can do it, and they do it greatly. But when there's too many people, there's a lot of lying in the corner. It just isn't consistent with what we're used to seeing one-on-one, so that gets a little bit risky. And I did notice it in the females rumble a lot, like the spots. It was like, oh, you can just see a ring of bodies just lying around with two people having the moment. Again, I think that you got to be careful with that one. I noticed it more in the women's than I did in the men's. Also, to touch on the men not having NXT, I think it speaks for the depth of the roster right now. I think the roster is just that good. I think they don't need to pull anyone up at the moment. It's really good when someone can shine on the Rumble. Can pushing. But I think for me, I wasn't disappointed with any entry of the men's Rumble. I was like, maybe I'm not really a fan of Omos. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. I'm not really a huge fan of his. He's good with MVP. MVP's doing his thing. MVP's great. And he's really pushing him along. I did actually quite like the Monster versus Monster again, but apart from that, I wasn't disappointed with the men's Rumble in terms of the entries, and I just think that's a really cool thing. I just want to note that, but you said NXT, and I think it's just they're just getting that good with the roster right now. Women's a steady match. There was nothing really that stood out to me. There was nothing that I thought like this is really monumental, but I thought it was good though. I thought they performed well. And then the elimination at the end just had me. Asuka's coming back as well with the cool dragon mask. I thought that was just like epic. So that I got a pop for that, So the women's was I liked the women's. I thought it was a good match. They did solid. No real botching there, which is good to see. Everyone seemed to get away safe. I mean, when you throw people over the top rope like that, you never know if someone's going to get injured. So I'm always hoping no one gets injured, but it didn't look like anyone did. And then elimination just got me at the end. Want Ria to win, epic elimination, so it's happy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Chance, your thoughts?
Yeah, basically what Carter was saying. The elimination at the end was great, probably the best spot of the night, but it was too predictable. We knew Ria was going to win. That took away from it. You knew at the end, like you said, if she could have slipped, it could have botched it, could have changed the whole match, but you knew she was going to win. Great eliminations. But predictable and a little bit lackluster overall. Sum it up. Too predictable. I like Royal Rumbles. Maybe Asuka's going to win. Maybe Liv's going to win. Maybe Becky's going to win. Whoever. But you knew Rhea was winning, and that takes away from it. Wrestling is best when you're surprised and you're excited. There was nothing really to get excited about because you knew it was going down.
Okay, well, I'll say this, Chance, man.
Right.
And like I hear what you're saying entirely, but we already knew this as going into it. Like, and
I know that's what I'm saying. Where's the surprises? Where's the excitement?
Well, you know what the surprise and the excitement is? It's because of this damn fucking internet that we live in now, man.
Well, no, but even my kid, 7.5, he's like, Dad, he doesn't know check the internet for the stuff. He knew Cody's winning and he knew Rhea's winning. And when you're that young and you know it, that wrestling's best when you're excited. You don't know what's going to happen. That's the best thing about wrestling. But we knew what was going to happen, and that hurt the Rumble big time.
Well, I it is what it is. I mean, I don't know how to answer that one.
To interject, you said that you guys said that you knew Rhea was going to win because you already told me that too. You said Rhea should win the Women's Royal Rumble. I don't know why. I don't know why I was clueless, but I didn't really put Rhea because I didn't know where she fit. I knew she's been epic. She's been doing great. It's like she's just been excelling more than anyone in the women's division. So it made sense from that standpoint. But from a story progression standpoint, I didn't know where she fit in because she hasn't been mixing with Bianca. She hasn't been mixing with Charlotte. So I didn't know from that sense. So for me, I was actually kind of surprised. Not surprised as such, but I was still intrigued because I didn't really know where she fitted in with the story. So I still didn't really know. Hoping,
Yeah. So here's what I think. I think I know where I want to go with this with what Chance was saying now. Like, I think, like you said, you didn't know, right? Now, this is all we do. Like, we watch wrestling, we talk about wrestling, we're always on top of it, we're always reading everything that's coming our way. So for people like ourselves, yeah, it could be a little boring, right? Like I was saying to some of the people that I was with last night watching the show, I was saying things to them, and then Corey Graves was saying it after on the telecast. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I said to my friend, I said, look, dude, I almost feel like I'm killing stuff for myself because we already know so much. We already have it in our head.
Yeah, that's a part of it.
And I think that's a huge part for us, right? So we're watching it with glasses that, we're basically writers. We've written the show already that they've already written because we know how they think and the direction they go in. So any guys like us, guys who do these kind of podcasts and focus on these particular art forms, have the knowledge. Where Connor, yeah, he's a fan. All love to you, brother. But at the same time, he's not watching it as diligently. Now, the reason I say that Rhea Ripley wins is because she's got two built-in storylines going for Mania. She can go against Charlotte, who she lost the title to at Mania, who she's never beaten. That's one particular storyline, redemption. The second storyline is you go up against the girl that you came up with. You guys came to NXT together. You guys came up the roster together. Unfortunately, Bianca's gotten the best of you every time so far in your guys' career. That's another storyline. So this is why, and plus everything that she's been doing. She was supposed to be fighting Bianca Money in the Bank in May, but she couldn't because of the injury she sustained, right? But then she joined the Judgment Day when she came back from that injury. So they took the focus off of that storyline. They kind of shut it down a little bit. But all indications from Money in the Bank was this is the direction that they're going to go in. Asuka coming out circa 2000. Asuka, I loved it.
That was cool.
As she was leaving Raw, before she left Raw, you could see she came out the last appearance on Raw that she had no face paint on. In fact, she had no makeup on. She was almost another Alexa Bliss. I'm lost in transition character. I don't know who I am anymore. Is this the Bianca Belair effect? I don't know. Maybe there's a storyline to be had here too. Anyone who becomes friends with Bianca becomes lost. They don't know what to do. They get, they lose their way, they lose their character. So Asuka came back with her 2000 evil Joker. I loved it. I loved that character. And it was really cool here. This is how I watch wrestling. If you look at Dakota Kai's underwear, her underwear matched her face paint. Go back and take a look at it. So it was really cool. Asuka's tights were different. She's wearing the full length tights now, opposed to the short tights that she always wore. Her hair's cut differently. Her hair's a little darker. The blue's a little darker. So these are all the little details. She's a face right now, but that character that she debuted was one bad bitch. That's all I'm going to say. If you go back and watch some of her old matches from New Japan and Noah and stuff that she did out there, that character was fucking awesome, man. So, she came out all smiley right now, but hopefully if she transitions into who that character is, that's going to be a really fun feud for anyone who wants to take her on, man.
Well said.
Michelle McCool coming out of the crowd. That was kind of cool. That was something completely different. She showed herself pretty well as well. I mean, it's pretty, I know, might be hard to fight in a pair of Uggs, but yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, Lacey Evans looked good. She's looking stronger and stronger, I think. So I'm liking where they're going with Lacey Evans. It seems like the best character she's had so far. Most promise with that character. So yeah.
I think they finally got her right. This is one character. Her and Elias are two characters, in my opinion, that they have a lot of potential with and to do great things physically. Both of them, their physiques are phenomenal. But the one problem is with Lacey Evans. I don't understand why she didn't come out with this gimmick right to start, opposed to being a Southern Belle and then coming out with the sob story character, then turning heel. Like, this girl kept spinning and spinning and spinning her wheels. They finally got the character right. And I'll be honest, man, to look at, she's really, she looks great. She looks really amazing right now too. And she's built into this character. I'm waiting for Sergeant Slaughter to come out and become her manager.
He might, you never know.
It makes sense, man. Cobra Clutch, Marines. Who else better to have, bring Slaughter out, man. I say that should be her manager.
Yeah. I'll say this too. You mentioned the last something I want to touch on. Actually, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, or maybe it was just me picking up on this and just interpreting it this way. I thought they were burying, the commentator team were burying a few people because you said Elias, and they kind of made Elias out to be a little bit of a joke when he came in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Elias is so promising. And then whenever even Uncle Howdy was there, this is one of the best storylines I've had going. And Uncle Howdy, especially the mysterious Uncle Howdy, it just seems so silly whenever, and the Pat McAfee could have been just adrenaline, he's having fun, but he's like, he didn't really know Uncle Howdy, and he's like, well, how do you do? And he just made this kind of jokey, goofy thing out of this guy with the top hat. And I just kind of felt it's going for burying people now and again.
I actually didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy McAfee at all, and I've never really enjoyed the guy because, especially yesterday, he came across like he's doing the football stuff. It's pregame on college and NFL. He came across like, I'm too cool to be here. I don't know what's going on, but I'm here for a payday. Yeah, he made some funny comments, but like him not knowing who these people were and the moves, like. To me, I didn't like that. I didn't like that angle. Like he seemed like he's too cool for school kind of thing. I'm here for the quick buck. I'm an NFL analyst now. I didn't like that. I didn't enjoy him at all. I never really have. But I thought yesterday, besides a few funny comments, like you said, he was burying guys. He didn't know what was what. I thought it was kind of cheesy, to be honest, of McAfee.
Well, I like McAfee. I don't think he was intentionally trying to be cheesy or trying to bury anything.
No, I'm not saying he was trying to be, but that's how he came off. He wasn't, he's trying to be himself. But
yeah.
I think he's too fake. I think he's too over the top. It comes across as contrived, not natural. When you hear other, heel commentators, they seem a little more realistic. He just seems,
but he's not a heel
jumping and dancing and stuff. I think it's goofy. That's me.
Yeah, no. I mean, I enjoy it. I think he's fun personally. I think he brings a good energy. Like I said, right off the top,
his energy is good. Yeah.
I think right off the top, like, I said, he tried to protect himself by, making it the funny comments and trying to understand what's going on.
Yeah, but you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to be on the biggest show in the world. You need to know your stuff. This isn't an indie show that we go to with 50 people. This is the top creme de la creme. You need to know your stuff or you shouldn't be out there. Simple.
Well, maybe he was doing it that way so we talk about it. Maybe it was all, part of the plan. I don't know. Let's see if he comes back on Friday. Maybe this was just a one-off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but
one more thing about the men's rumble. I don't like how they're treating Corbin. They're making him into a big joke. Beat up, thrown out, tossed. He's a big, strong Golden Gloves boxer. They're just humiliating the guy.
I mean, you think about it. Corbin and Elias are in the same boat that way. I mean, how many renditions of Corbin are we going to get?
Yeah.
The lone wolf, long hair. Then you're fucking corporate Corbin, and then your general manager Corbin, and then you're fucking poor Corbin, then you're sad Corbin, then you're happy Corbin, now you're fucking wrestling god Corbin. So, I mean, even having JBL on your side is not helping you. There might be something there that they need to figure out. He's an amazing worker. The guy is a natural heel. The guy doesn't need much to work with. Just his face alone sells. Like he's a fucking awesome heel, right? So hopefully they can figure that out. Yes.
Yep.
I know I said my apologies. I'm looking after my neighbor's dog. She's awesome. She's like usually not making a noise, but something's
hey man, maybe she doesn't like Baron Corbin either, man.
Well, I will say
he was a lone wolf, wasn't he at first?
He was a lone wolf, yeah. Right.
I will say on Corbin. Yeah, Corbin's got something, right? I know we're not really turning this Corbin chat, but I made a note about Corbin too. That was something I actually wrote down about Corbin. I just feel like it's wasted time. It's like it's wasted our time having Corbin there. Yep. He's not wasted. He's got great potential, but it's almost like you don't have to put Corbin on TV because it's not giving anything, especially with JBL there. It's almost a wasted JBL too because they're two badass. Corbin's badass, JBL's badass. It's like we don't need JBL could be helping someone who's a little bit.
I said that when it first started. Yeah.
Currently, I think the purpose that they're serving is poker games backstage segments, which is allowing them to create matches. Right? So you got two guys playing in cards or whatever. No, I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I think, right? That's what I feel from it. It's almost like they're there to create, they're there for segments that create matches for later on in the show. Like, we got to Zaw against this guy because he didn't like his hand. And you got Baron Corbin fighting that guy because he didn't like his hand, So, I mean, I hope they figure it out. I hope they kind of, figure something out here with these guys. But guys, listen, we got the match of the night coming up now, right? Let's just get into it. The match itself, I feel was Kevin Owens was only in the match for them to forward the Sami Zayn story. The match itself was pretty decent. Some high spots, some really good moves there, some shocking movements, some really close 2 counts. The match sold really well. Both guys did really good in terms of selling it. Their facial expressions. Roman did an amazing job. Kevin did an amazing job as well. For a big man, very agile.
Yes.
Back and forth. Great match. I'll even say this because of everything that happened after the match. I think that took away from the match itself, but I would call that match the match of the night. I mean, it's not much to choose from.
I agree.
It's not much to choose from overall.
No, you're right.
But the match itself was amazing. Really well done.
And Owens took a good beating out there too. He got smacked around.
Yeah, right. And I mean, the selling on this, so we don't need to talk about the match. We already knew what happened. It went down the way it went down, close calls, things like that. But you saw things starting to crumble when Sammy was asked to give him the chair, and Sammy said, but you told me not to do anything. I'm just standing here. I'm doing what you told me, right? Getting the ire of the tribal chief. And I think this is where business picked up. Match ends, and they start beating the shit out of Kevin Owens here, something fierce. The wise man brings out the handcuffs. He tie him up. And the beating that ensued after this, or prior to this, with the chair shots as well, I started to think Rock and Mick Foley from the Royal Rumble of yesteryear, where Mick took that horrendous beating from The Rock. Was it 20 chair shots, I believe, right? Not 20 chair shots, but those chair shots that he took from Roman were something fierce. Those were not light. Those were hitting hard. Those super kicks. I mean, fucking hell, man. I don't care how choreographed you want to call it. Owens sold beautifully. He made that storyline awesome last night, and he took a beating. And I swear to God, that guy's got to have a concussion. He's got to have his ears ringing still this afternoon now.
Oh, probably, yeah.
What a beating. What a fucking beating, man. Like, even I was sitting like, okay, stop, enough. Enough, right?
Yeah, he got worked over really well. It was a good best match of the night.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then it all came down at the end where I guess in his mind he was trying to protect Kevin by telling Roman Reigns, listen, you don't need to hit him with the chair shot. This is beneath you, blah, 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 hoping that would work. Gives him the chair, tells him to hit him. And the way they set that up was beautiful. The pushing the hand in the face, pushing Sammy around, getting on him like that, making him look like a less of an individual, less of a man.
Yeah.
Roman eats a chair shot. The beating of Sami Zayn ensues. Here we are, guys. Thoughts?
Connor, take it away.
Yeah, I think obviously best segment of the night. I would give the match probably around a 7 to 8, match wise. But that segment, 9 to 10. I can't think of a storyline with that payoff that I've been not invested in, where I completely suspended belief. It was like I know, we all know what's happening, and we all can kind of tell a little bit of where it's going to go. But for me, just on the edge the whole time, couldn't take my eyes off it. Jay was by far the best selling of that segment, I thought. Just how he looked when he was walking away left you thinking, where's his head going to be at? What's going to happen next with Jay? Storytelling, I can't really think of a time where I've felt as emotionally invested in a story in my whole time watching wrestling. I've felt excited watching wrestling. I felt horrified, we look at Stone Cold turning heel against The Rock with a chair. That was horrifying when I was younger watching that. I think I was in high school when that was happening, and I was, a huge fan then. But I can't remember in recent years that actually getting like I'm watching a really good TV show, a really good movie, and I'm like, you're thinking like, is he going to do it? Is he not? Don't do this. And Roman, that goes down to Roman's acting a lot. He's brought everyone up. Sammy's interjected into the bloodline. He's acting brilliantly and doing his part. So the payoff was immense. I think I don't think it could have done any better. I think that did they did it great. You know, if it was going to end at Rumble, if it was all going to end at Rumble, I think they did everything great. Even adding the addition of Jay, I thought Jay was going to jump in with Jimmy. I thought Jay was maybe going to run back and splash him. I liked that they kept leaving him out and walking away, because at least it gives you for a little bit uncertainty of what's going to happen. I think it's going to be Sammy and Kevin against the Usos, the tag titles, you know. But I mean, at least for at the moment, they made you really feel for Jay. So overall, just one of the best segments I've seen in a long time. That really made the show. If it wasn't for that, I would have been like, that wasn't a bad Royal Rumble, but that just like put the stop on that Rumble. I was like, oh, what an ending.
Yeah.
Great way to end the night. Best segment of the night. Like you said, Owens and Sami Zayn got their alliance going now. You could see it building, as you were saying, during the match. And yeah, it was a great way to end the Rumble. A lackluster Royal Rumble ended on a good note.
Okay, so here's my takeaway from this. So when I watched this segment at the end there, the one thing that I noticed right off the bat is when Jimmy attacked him, when Jimmy was the first one to touch him and actually put that kick on him, that surprised me. All of a sudden, this storyline takes a different arc right off that moment, because throughout the whole Bloodline Sami Zayn existence, if you think about it, until Jay actually got on board with him, his best friend was Jimmy.
Yep.
Right. If anything, the more aggressive, the more menacing Uso has always been Jay. Right. But Jimmy's that guy that puts your arm around you. He's always smiley and, you know, happy go lucky. He'll kick the shit out of you, but he's a happy go lucky guy. He's the guy that I'd want to be, I feel safer with. Right. You know what I mean? But the viciousness, the way his eyes changed and everything that changed on him when that chair shot hit, and you look at Jay and you were expecting that from him, this storyline just takes a whole different arc now. Like, okay, why didn't Jay participate? What's going on with him? Is he so emotionally bonded now to Sammy? Like, you're the angry one, you're the loose cannon, you're the guy that I expected to attack first. So the story would tell me, right? So that's my takeaway from it. It's just kind of they progressed this even further and gave it even more life now. Where's Jay gonna fit in? What's going on here? Like, who's going to turn on who? Is this still going to happen where we're going to get Sammy against Roman now in February before Mania? Is that match going to happen? How is this?
Possibly at Elimination Chamber, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I actually dug, and I found some footage online because I always want to see, okay, do these guys hug after the cameras went off the air?
Yeah.
And what have you. Nothing like that happened. All I know is from the footage that I saw, both guys came out. First, Owens came out. Like, so this guy had his camera. He was ringside, so he could see them. They didn't embrace or anything from what I saw. Two referees took Owens to the back, crowd cheered, and then Sammy followed in behind. So they haven't progressed the story after the Royal Rumble from there. I guess we'll start to see now what these two guys are going to, you know, connect on, or if they're going to connect, or if they're going to be angry at each other, or if Owens not going to trust them, or you know what I mean? So we'll see. But ultimately, all roads lead to them fighting the Usos for one set of the titles. Now, here's something interesting, guys, quickly. They kept advertising the title match for the Universal title. Am I wrong to think that only one title was on the line? Because I know they're doing that with the tag team titles now, where Jimmy and Jay are defending the Raw titles on Raw and the SmackDown titles on SmackDown. Did I hear incorrectly? Because I haven't seen any notes or anything.
You heard it correctly. I'm just not sure if that means they're going to defend one belt or both, but you did hear it correctly. You didn't say that, yes.
Right? Because throughout the whole build-up as well, like the Universal title is on the line. Not both titles, only the Universal title, which makes sense. Owens is a SmackDown guy.
Yeah, no, you're correct on that, 100%.
So is that something, like, just something that's, you know, like they plant that little seed. Okay, maybe this is how they're going to protect themselves if they have to take one of the belts off of him for Cody to fight someone.
Yeah, no.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, because what if they do manage to get The Rock, or you know, it's like by the way, speaking of The Rock, imagine, I know The Rock wasn't going to be there, you know, but and I know it doesn't fit in, especially right now after Cody and everything else, you know. But could you imagine, like, I don't know what you guys watching that in real time, but I was just sensation to my body. I was watching that, getting emotionally invested. Could you imagine if people were like that in the arena at home watching and The Rock's music hit? Wouldn't have made sense at this point now.
I said the same thing. I looked over at Russ, my friend that I was with. I looked over at him. At that point where they were just beating the shit out of Sammy there, all of them together, I was just saying, you know what would be perfect right now? If you smell, and that hits, and he just comes out onto the thing. That's what I kept holding out for all night. I'll be honest, I'm guilty of this. The 12-year-old in me kind of came out. I kept waiting for it. I kept waiting for it. Like I've never counted down numbers in a Royal Rumble match or paid attention to who's coming out. When we got to 27, fuck, he's not coming. Okay, maybe he'll come at this match, right? But Triple H is even saying himself. Now, I said this on the last show as well, guys. I don't know if this is a work or this is just their way of protecting it. But I mean, until now, even to this point, all roads lead to Roman and Rock at Mania, in my opinion. It probably won't happen. Like chances probably,
it's going to be Rhodes and Reigns. I'm pretty sure.
I think it's going to be Rhodes and Reigns here, probably. But I mean, again, maybe you never know. Maybe this is one thing they're doing really, really well and protecting really well. But yeah, no, ultimately, here was another botch that I saw with the cameraman. So there was a spot between Shayna Baszler and Natalia when they came out, and the cameraman was in a position where he was catching Shayna, who was on one side of the corner, in one corner, and what's her name? Natalie was in the other corner, and they're both looking at each other and nodding and mouthing something to saying, okay, as soon as we're done with these two, we'll get our spot in. So
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so just go back and check it out. It's again, just so much wrestling I watch. It's the things I look for now, right?
I didn't know.
Oh wow, her face paint matches her underwear, right? Like I mean, who picks up on that shit? Me, Bobby Sampson. All right, guys.
All right. Great ending. I think that was pretty much it. I was had the pleasure of watching with someone too, so we were talking about it. They're not a wrestling fan. Until now, they've been watching wrestling. They've been sitting around watching wrestling. So it's really cool hearing someone who doesn't watch through the lens of a wrestling fan.
It is.
She said, at the end, her words were that was barbaric and intense. With the, what I mean. So that's really cool to see someone who isn't very knowledgeable of wrestling, isn't a wrestling fan, but watches because it's captivating. To say this is awesome. That was the point made that like this looked, and that was barbaric and intense, and so it just shows. I mean, they've really got something captivating. I think to talk about Rhodes and Reigns though, I've been marking it for Rhodes, since he came at WrestleMania. The Rhodes story, everything leading with Rhodes. Rhodes, I think, is this next level of his career, next level character advancement. He just seems so in his zone, his element. Roman's in his element. So part of me kind of thinks, you know what? If it don't get Rock Reigns, it might actually be better because let's face it, The Rock's not going to be invested. He's not. We know that he's really not going to be invested, but Rhodes is in that sweet spot like Reigns is. So you might get some magic that you won't really get with other than the family aspect. It's The Rock, But let's go with what's happening now. And I think this is a great time for wrestling. I think in the present right now, they've got great things happening. So much so that even Booker T was the only surprise entrant. It seems that they're getting that sweet spot where they're building something fresh. They don't need as much to pull from the legends, So
and that's an indication.
The only thing I'll say to counter that, Connor, is you are right to a point, but remember the highest rated Raw the last 3 years was what? Raw 30 with all the legends out. So the average Joe wants the legends. That's why they want Rock there. From the hardcore guys, yes. But if you want to get the average Joe watching Mania, you need the Rock guys. That's the thing.
Rock doesn't even have to work. Just his presence alone, right? Even
because it's Hollywood.
Even if you were to work a match with Roman, I mean, I'm not looking for it to be a spectacular match in any way. It's just his presence, his persona, his energy that he brings.
Hollywood. It's in Hollywood.
That is all that you really need from him, or a Stone Cold, right? I think you're going to get a Stone Cold before you'll get a Rock. We lost Chance Michaels. Oh my goodness. I tell you what, Connor, man, why don't we just wrap this up between the two of us? Chance, I'm sorry, brother, man. I don't know what happened to you. Connor, thank you so much for coming on with us here.
Thank you.
It was a fun Raw. It was a fun, Royal Rumble. Thank you for joining us all the way from Greece. That all being said, my name is Bobby Sampson. I am joined with Connor, the Irish Mauler. We're just going to call him that for right now, but we'll find a new name for you. Think of your working name, brother, and we'll get something going there. Guys, I'm Bobby Sampson. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Everyone be safe, be happy. Champ&Chance will be back Tuesday. I apologize for Mr. Michaels. Unfortunately, something happened with his computer, but that's the world that we live in. We can't control all these things. Guys, I am Bobby Sampson once again, Connor the Mauler. Guys, have a great afternoon and the rest of your weekend. We will talk to you soon.